Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, where today I'm back and once again we're going to be reviewing some action figures. These are the MEZCO. I'm just going to do both of them because, they're both pretty cool and I want to take a look at both of them in the same video because I have time for that. I got these on Big Bad Toy Store. Destro, it was on sale for 50 bucks. Roadblock was on sale for like 101 bucks, which doesn't really seem like a sale, but it was like 115, so I got like a little bit off, not too much, but I wanted this Roadblock. And yeah, so this is a MEZCO exclusive, so I was really surprised to see this on Big Bad Toy Store, but it was on there, so I picked it up. You got the G.I. Joe logos, you got the Cobra on the side, G.I. Joe on that side, you got more product shots and everything. Well, actually, that's artwork. That's not even a product shot. That's just really nice artwork, and I really do like that artwork. Yeah, continuation of that artwork on the bottom, and yeah. Destro on the side, Cobra logo on the side, Roadblock on the side, G.I. Joe logo on the side, and yeah. So, I already got these guys opened up. I played with them a little bit, didn't do much with them. I put them back in the packaging, pretty much the way they came. The only thing is, Roadblock comes with fists on instead of trigger finger hands, but I was messing around with one of the guns, so I put on trigger finger hands, and that's really the only difference between how they would come packaged and how I have them. So we're going to take a look at Roadblock first, and then we'll do Destro. So I will get him out, and we will take a look at him. Now, I do want to say this guy is really freaking cool, and these two are only my second and third figures after Snake Eyes for the G.I. Joe MEZCO line, and I gotta say, this really instills confidence in this line, and it definitely wants me to make me want to pick up the Duke. So I'll probably pick up the Duke, even though I'm probably gonna also get the Classified series, the Hasbro one. I also want the MEZCO Duke, and then I'm definitely gonna pick up the Storm Shadow. He's my favorite, so I have to pick him up, even if he's $200. And then I think I'm also gonna pick up the MEZCO exclusive, I think it was, or it was comic exclusive, like the Commando Snake Eyes. I'm also gonna pick that up, I think. So yeah, because this guy's awesome, and the accessories on these, they just kill it with all the G.I. Joe ones. I mean, MEZCO always kills with accessories, but the G.I. Joe ones are kind of on another level for me. Like these, I feel like they're putting more of their on these ones than they do with the Marvel stuff, which is cool because, these are cool figures, and the Marvel stuff's cool too. But I think I like these more than the Marvel. I think I like these as much as I like the DC. I've only gotten the Batman and Superman, but and the Constantine. Yeah, so I have gotten a few DC, and those are all really cool. So. If these go with as good as the DC, this is going to be a good line, and these just make me want the Cobra Commander more and more because they would kill it with the Cobra Commander. So, as far as paint and stuff goes, really not getting a lot. It's a MEZCO figure. Most of the details coming from, the clothes, the soft goods, but when there's elements like the boots, the gloves, the face, they always kill it with paint on those for the most part, especially. The faces didn't used to always be the best, but now they look great. Like, that's a nice looking face. And it kind of helps that there's no likeness that they really have to go by, like, no human likeness. This isn't like, they're not trying to capture, like, Terry Crews or, like, The Rock. I was trying to think of, bald black guys. But, they're not really trying to capture a real black dude. They're just, this is a character from a cartoon and from a comic book and from a toy line, and they can kind of put their own MEZCOifications on there, so that's nice. But the hands are all going to have the same, they're all those rubbery, nice MEZCO popping hands, and they're all going to look basically like that. You got the fingerless gloves, and then they're like a green, army green, and then I really like the boots on this guy. They're really cool. For articulation, really, since I'm basically already done with the details on this figure. I mean, we'll look into that more with the accessories on the details, but, I mean, you got pockets and all over it, and then, he's just got a plain army shirt. And, even if you didn't want to use this as Roadblock, you could totally use this as a just an army dude, just like a random army dude. I mean, this could totally work as just some guy, you know. You could maybe take the head off, customize it into a roadie, or I was thinking this head could work for a, you know, if you wanted to put it over on the Marvel Legends Luke Cage even, but I mean the facial hair is not the same, and sorry, where was I had to stop the recording for a second. But you could put this on the Luke Cage, I feel like, but the facial hair is not the same, and I don't know if the like you know, the shade of his skin, that's what I was looking for, like the shade, I don't know if they're the same shade, so I'd have to look at that. But if you wanted to, you could use this guy as a Luke Cage, like just a normal Luke Cage, because I thought this guy was going to be bigger. That's my only problem with this figure, is I thought he was going to be bigger because it's Roadblock. I figured, oh, this guy's going to be huge. It's MEZCO. They pretty much always kill it with like really big figures. I feel like they like making guys bulky. I feel like they kill it with that. Don't get me wrong, this dude's in good shape, but like I feel like he should be more of a brick. He should be Roadblock size. So besides that, he's pretty cool. So I would like to see this maybe get an update on a bigger body. Would be pretty cool. But if this is all we get from MEZCO, I'm still pretty happy with it. So for articulation, you have the head, and it can go up that far. You know, you have the ball joint in the top of the head, and then you have one down at the bottom of the neck, and he has a really thick neck. So get down to there, you can get down to there, you can get side pretty good, side to side tilt. Obviously, you can spin the head around. It's on a ball joint up there, and then the arms can go up to there because it's got a really deep hinge in there. So, but it gets there. No butterfly joint, sadly. That would have helped to hold his accessories that we'll look at. So I wish he had butterfly joints. You have an upper bicep swivel. It's a little tight, but it's there. And then the arms are what surprised me, because in the product photos that I saw on Big Bad Toy Store, it looked like he just had like a hinge and swivel arm, but luckily it's double jointed. So that's nice. And then you have the, you know, the wrist that can go in any way. And these, I have never broken a wrist on a MEZCO, so that's so nice. These are figures I'm not scared to play with, unlike Mafex. So, and then for the torso, you can crunch with just the top one. That's all you get out of that. But with the bottom, you get about to there. Back, you can go back to there. You can get a good tilt out of it. It's not the most articulated in the world, but I feel like it's good enough if you want to get some just normal army, you know, stances and gun holding stances and stuff. This guy's not amazing Yamaguchi level. It's not even as amazing as some MEZCOs that I've messed with, but he's not a bad figure by any means. You can kick out to there, kick to the side to there, kick back, pretty good. You have a double jointed knee that can go to there. You have boot swivel, and then you have the famous MEZCO ankles that don't give you anything really. The only one that I have that I feel like has great ankle articulation is probably Morbius. Yeah, I think he's the only one that I have that actually has great ankle articulation. All right, and for this guy, he's got tons of hands. You've got relaxed hands, kind of grabbing the weight of the weapon hands. You've got, these are fisted hands. These are like knife holding hands, weapon holding hands, and these are like also kind of semi-relaxed, about to kick some ass hands. And then he comes with trigger finger hands. He, like I said, he has the fisted hands on in the package, but I put these on last night when I was messing with him. And so yeah. And then you have all of these. I actually don't know what most of these things are for. These are these and this, I think, are, yeah, these are the stand for the LMG, so we'll take a look at that in a second. I think that's also part of that stand. You got a pistol, you got a knife, and then you got 6 grenades. So we'll look at that when I look at the LMG. And then you have these knee pads. I think these are knee pads. They're either knee pads or elbow pads. I lost one last night, but I was luckily able to find it. It just flew out of the packaging. I think these would go on over the knees or the elbows. They look big for the elbows, but I'll look at that in a second too. And then you have 2 different harnesses. You got the more, you know, less armored, more tactical, and then you have the more like armored, looks like a bulletproof Kevlar vest type of thing, and they're both really nice. This will probably be what I use if I put it on him. This one's got a knife sheath in the back of it. This one does not, that I can see. It'd be nice if there was like a knife sheath right there. That'd be cool. But these are both really nice. They're rubbery, and I'll take a look at those on the figure in a second as well. And then you get a couple holsters. You get a pistol holster, and then this is not really a holster. This is just a pocket, you know, just like a pouch. And my cat is crying for attention, so just give me 1 second. Okay, and next you get this backpack, which is like, I was like, what is this? How do you connect this? Like, does he have magnets or? But it comes with this secondary piece where I believe you just do this, something like that, and then like that. I feel like maybe I actually don't know. I haven't tried this yet, so I don't want to break it. Yeah, maybe that's exactly how you do it. It just snaps on. And now that that's on there, that's never coming off. There's no need for that to come off for me. And yeah, that's just I think that's meant for the LMG to plug in the ammo. Speaking of that, you get an ammo, it's like ring of firing ammunition. So you put that in there, and then it will clip into the LMG, which is a pretty cool gun. I do know this is an LMG because I've used this gun plenty of times in video games, so I know this is an LMG. I'm not the biggest gun guy, but I do know that is an LMG, so be proud of me for that at least. And then it has a slot in on this side, so the side, you just put it in like this, I think, right? Yeah, okay, it just didn't want to go in. And then, yeah, you just got it. You just hold it. Looks like that. Looks pretty cool together. We'll look at that on the figure as well in a second. Oh, and the gun fell. I'll just take the gun off. And then this also, it opens up. I don't know what you're supposed to store in there, but maybe you can store the guns, like the smaller guns and stuff in there. I don't think this really has a reason to open, but it looks nice. You got like that, like paint chipping off and stuff on there, so that looks pretty cool. And then you have another gun, which is like just a machine gun. I don't think it's a light machine gun, so it's not an LMG. It's just a bit of a heavier looking machine gun, just like an AR maybe. And then that pops out, and yeah, from what I can tell, nothing else comes out. This doesn't move. This doesn't come out, which it doesn't really need to. That's fine. But yeah, it looks nice. Just like all MEZCO guns look great. And then for all those guns, let me just 1 second here. All those guns, there's 3 different muzzle flash effects. There's these 2 bullet effects, and then there's this like big like muzzle flash effect. It looks like you'd be able to plug that in there, but you can't. You don't really see a bullet in this one, and that looks a little bent, so hopefully that's not breaking. But yeah, these ones are really cool. So MEZCO does it great with bullet effects. Okay, and then you get 2 heads. You get a happy, kind of cocky, mouthing off type head, and then you get a really angry, about to kill a Cobra officer, you know, type head. And those look great. And then for the heads, this fits on all of them. You get this helmet that you can just put on, and I actually really like this helmet. It's a little baseball helmet-ish, but I think it looks cool, especially when you get all the other gear on. And speaking of that, that is what we're going to do. So I will be right back with that, and give me 1 second. Okay, so this is kind of what he looks like with the gun on. Like, obviously for a gun like this, you kind of have to have him holding it with 2 hands because these are really heavy guns in real life. But the backpack looks pretty nice on him. And the weird thing about this backpack is there's actually clips, like you know, actual clips that you have to open. So that's a little scary. So I don't think this is a backpack that's going to be going on very often. But the cool thing about this is if you wanted to use this for someone like, you know, Punisher or like Red Hood or somebody like that, you totally could. So it's very multi-purpose. And yeah, since this is probably not going to be going on him very often, I mean, be careful with this. This will probably find a home somewhere else. Maybe it'll go on a Cobra officer or something. But as I was talking about, these actually pop off. I don't know if this is the right way to open it or if there's an easier way, but you just do that. And then I don't know if you can just pull them. I'm scared to just pull them because I'm scared of them breaking. So I think you actually do have to push your fingers in there. And that's kind of hard for someone without like long fingernails. Yeah, that's terrifying. Okay, I was able to just pull that out, but I don't know if that's because I loosened it or something. But this is a terrifying accessory. Okay, so now next for the LMG, we're going to put together the stand for it. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, and I got it all assembled, and I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how this is supposed to go. This is an assembly of what I was able to figure out. I don't know if this is proper. This only goes into there, it seems like, so I don't know if mine's broken or what. This will only go into here. This part will only go into here. I thought this was maybe an extender stand that you could plug in or something. I've tried it every way, and I can't figure it out, but... So it seems a little small for being like a turret. But, I mean, whatever. I'm never going to use this like this probably anyway. So it's not a big deal, but I just couldn't figure it out. So I'm just an idiot, I guess. But we'll get back into the holsters and stuff. So for the holsters, I'm assuming we're just going to put those on. Give me 1 second. Okay, so now I have all his gear on him. And these holsters were a real son of a bitch to put on. This one managed to plug in. This one did not. This thing keeps unplugging, so just keep that in mind. MEZCO plugs are like those old plugs that you would use for I don't know, Masters of the Universe, He-Man, stuff like that. Once you plug them, unplug them, they're kind of iffy. So I don't think I'm gonna put this on him. You can see what it would look like. I mean, this is what I'm gonna use on him if I use a thing on him. These holsters are probably always gonna stay on him because you don't really need this. This won't even plug in and it's staying on him. And then the knee pads look fine, I guess. The knees more up there. They kind of want to slip down a little bit. But yeah, it looks fine with all this gear on, but honestly, I kind of like the clean look of Roadblock, so we'll see. But I will let you know that this just does unpins in the front, and then that's probably never going to get pinned back in properly, so... Or maybe it will. But something with MEZCO, I've had the same problem with the stuff that pinned on with Snake Eyes and the belts with this Wolverine. So this is just permanently glued into place because I didn't need all those belt options anyway. So, but yeah, now we're gonna get into Destro and we'll take a look at him and we'll see how he is. Okay, and I also forgot to mention, before we look at the Destro, it's a given. These always come with the stand, the base for the stand, and the actual armature stand, and then the baggies to put everything in. So, figured I'd. Okay, now we have Destro, the second in command of Cobra. You know, really the weapons guy. I don't really think he's second in command of Cobra. He just is the second most famous Cobra character, probably, aside from Cobra Commander. But this guy's a pretty cool figure, honestly. I really like this figure. I mean, it's not the perfect. I mean, he stands pretty weird and wonky, but I feel like once I play with him a little more, he'll straighten out. He'll look a little cooler. But once I have him in like a pose next to all my Cobra troops and my eventual Cobra Commander, I feel like he'll look cooler. But yeah. So as for this guy, he comes with some pretty cool stuff, honestly. I mean, he doesn't come with quite as much as Roadblock, but I feel like what he does come with is pretty cool. So we'll look at that in a second, but just the aesthetic, he has a lot more going on with the base figure than Roadblock. He has, you know, just the design, you know, it's just the design. The gauntlets are crazy, you know, very Iron Man-ish. He's got the crazy belt, he's got a holster on, he's got boots as well, but he's got that chrome dome head, and then all of the like black flourishes on the costume, because this guy and Cobra Commander are both very extravagant with the outfits they wear. They're both very crazy. But yeah, this is an awesome looking figure, and I'm glad to have him, especially for $50. I mean, he's not the perfect figure, but if you're able to pick this guy up for $50, I mean, I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer. Even if you just want to use the accessories from this guy for your Hasbro Destro, or make a custom or something, this guy's definitely worth it. So we'll just go right into articulation. For the head, well, for the head, you got to keep the head on, right? Clearly, you got to keep the head on. You can only go up to there, but it's because that collar is going to get in the way. I don't know if you go much more up without the collar anyway. You can look down that much, which is not much at all. Get a little bit of head tilt. I feel like enough. The arms. You get a little bit of butterfly joint in there, so that's cool. But you can go all the way up to there before the fabric stretches. You got the bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. You got the, you know, you can go in any direction with the wrists. You can arch back. Holy shit, that's way better than Roadblocks. You can arch forward. I feel like that's better than Roadblocks too. Clearly, you can twist. You got the ball joint down there. You can do all that. You can kick out to the side, kick out to the front, kick out to the back. I don't think he has an upper thigh swivel. Maybe he does and it's stuck, but I feel like he does not have an upper thigh swivel. So really just twisting on that joint. So that's sad. And then you have the double joint knee. You've got the boot swivel. And then you've got those shitty ankles that every MEZCO seems to have. Hopefully one day we'll get more range on those and better ankles. Now we'll get into accessories. So for accessories, we'll start out with the hands. And these didn't come in like a sprue packaging, and you'll see that's an issue in a second. You'll see that. They didn't come like how Roadblocks came. So he's got a couple trigger finger hands. He's got some like gripping, different types of gripping hands. You've got more relaxed hand for both sides. Got another type of trigger finger type hand, like a fighting stance hand, another gripping hand, and then you got a pointer finger. So that's pretty cool. And then, okay, we'll just get into the gauntlet. You have swappable gauntlets, which these look pretty cool. You got the missiles right there. And then this one has missiles firing off. You just plug that right in. For this gauntlet, you just plug that right in. Sorry, my cat's meowing for me. She's just gonna have to wait a second now, isn't she? Luna, you're okay, baby. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I got that in there. Well, see, that's the issue. This wants to fly out. This one wants to fly out when you put it in. I'm just going to super glue this one in when I'm done with this review because I don't ever need this. And, I mean, it's cool, don't get me wrong. Maybe I'll figure something out, but, yeah, this is just really annoying as far as this goes. So, that's actually going to stay off for the rest of you because it doesn't even want to stay in. But this side is pretty cool, like, communicator that you can look and see in there. So, that's pretty cool. But, that's for that. Next, for accessories, you have this, like, this holster. It's a separate holster for a different sidearm that you can just plug into there. I'm not doing that because once I do that, that is never going to go back in. I already know. And then you get some heads. You get the one on the body, obviously. And you get another kind of stern one, and then like a cocky asshole one, which is probably going to be the one I use, honestly. So I'm going to take that off. And then to take the head off, that also requires you to take that off so you can put on the real chain for him, like that. And then you put that on. And yeah, that looks pretty cool. And then the rest of the accessories. You get a couple magazines for some guns. I don't know what these magazines go to yet, but I'm assuming one is for the sidearm. There's an alternate one for the sidearm, probably. I don't know which one. This, maybe that. Yeah. So that comes out of there. And that's just an extra one for that. And then for this one, it's the same deal. That comes out of there. So these are just extra mags. Okay. Well, you get these like kind of cyberpunkish weapons, honestly. And this reminds me of like a shotgun, but you can use it as an AR. And then this is just like a sidearm that you just kind of put in there. And since he's an arms dealer, you know, he does extravagant shit. These guns make sense for Destro. That gun's a bit of a snug fit. I think this is the gun that's meant to go in there. If not, it went in there pretty well. It might not be the gun that's meant to go in there though, because it's kind of snub-nosed one. Yeah, okay, that's not the gun that's meant to go in there. This gun goes in this holster, so just be warned. This holster is for the other sidearm that you get. And I will get into that in a second. So for that other sidearm that I mentioned, it's like a kind of choose your own adventure type gun. You can assemble it. It comes with all this cool stuff in there. There's lots of pretty cool. That's like a extended stock that you can put on it. And then I think that's a extended mag. And then you got scope, like a silencer type thing. This is like, I think you put this on there for like to stabilize it. This might be another mag. Yeah, this is another mag. But I don't want to take all that out, but I feel like assembling that, it will look pretty cool. I might assemble it, we'll see. But this goes like that. And then you could put that in this case. So this case comes with one already in it, and this has like cool stuff in there. We'll look at that in a second. But you can just kind of slip that in there, just close it. So it does want to slip out, so just be warned. But that looks pretty cool. A little worn. I think it's meant to look like that, but this is a pretty cool case, so glad to get that. And then for this, they came with batteries, and then you click this on, and you can do that. You can just, and then off, on, off. I think these are meant to be like, you know, bioweapons, so those are pretty cool. Nothing comes out that I can tell, which is fine because I don't want any of these small things to come out. So that's everything that Destro comes with, and we'll now get into size comparisons. So for size comparisons, first we're gonna compare the two together. We've got Roadblock and Destro, and then we're gonna do some other figures from. I don't have the MEZCO Snake Eyes right now because as I've said a million times, I turned that into a Red Hood, so I don't want to pull out the Red Hood body. But here's the Hasbro G.I. Joe Storm Shadow. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. And then we have the Snake Eyes from Hasbro that came with the timber that I used as a Crypto the Superdog. So this Roadblock will probably work with these guys. The Hasbro Roadblock is way bigger, but if you don't have other big figures next to them, this looks pretty cool. So that's nice. And then I have some other G.I. Joe figures we'll take a look at. I have this is the MEZCO timber that came with the Snake Eyes that I already had. And then this is one of the Cobra, like, Vipers, I think. So we got those. And then I have a couple more G.I. Joe figures. We have the Bat, which works pretty well with that color scheme. And then we have another one of the, like, Vipers. I think that's what they were called, Vipers. Viper officers, something like that. But this is what they look like with those. So these will go pretty well behind Destro until I get Cobra Commander. And then a couple more things. These aren't G.I. Joe related, but they are figures I think will go pretty well with G.I. Joe. So number one, we have Cammy from Street Fighter. She's very small. This is the Jada Toys one. She's very small, but she looks pretty cool. I think she'd fuck up some Cobra officers. So she looks awesome if she would want to stand. I had her in a fighting position. That'll work. And then we have the Hasbro Fortnite Jewels. So, and there are some G.I. Joe characters in Fortnite. Well, there's Snake Eyes. He's in Fortnite. He's the only one. But and then I have another Fortnite. This is the Meowscles from Fortnite. Oh my god. Ooh. Just knocked everything over. Sorry about that. But this is the Meowscles from Fortnite. So, this is honestly the size that I expect a character like Roadblock to be. So, if only this guy was just a little bit bigger, he could have taken on Meowscles. And then, this guy doesn't really go with, I feel like, G.I. Joe, but I just wanted to put him on there. We have the Mafex Nightwing. So, those are nice. And then, my cat is crying to get out, but she's going to have to wait a second, because I'm almost done. We have the Marvel Legends, Agent Venom, sorry. And then the MEZCO Cyclops. So, those look pretty cool together. This guy could definitely help out the troops. And then we have the Marvel Legends War Journal Punisher. He will definitely work with those guys. And then if you wanted to use this guy as, like, you could probably customize this into like a Cobra troop or use it as your own like special character. We have Baron Zemo, so that looks pretty cool. And then I have a Deadpool. This is definitely, he could help out either side, honestly, knowing Deadpool. And then this is the cap that I would probably use for them. I think this guy would look so cool with a bunch of like officers behind him from like the G.I. Joe hat side, like the Joes. That would be so cool. And then last but not least, we're gonna do 2 more caps. We have US Agent and we have the Bucky cap. So if you wanted to use Bucky cap, that could work too. So that works great. Alright, well, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm glad I got these guys out, and they can go on their own shelf. I'll have a G.I. Joe shelf set up eventually, I hope. And yeah, these guys are awesome. I recommend you at least pick up Destro, because he's very cheap on Big Bad Toy Store right now. But if there's one that I recommend out of the 2, it'd probably be Roadblock. He's the one that's more fun to play with, in my opinion, and he's the character that I like more. But if you like Destro, I think you'll really like this guy. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.